Guess who funded one of the largest money-laundering political machines in U.S. history? To quote Senator Tom Cotton, there is a certain regime known as one of the largest money-laundering and influence-peddling operations in the world. What is this organization, that has the ability to funnel cash from sources of ill repute and turn them into magical dollars and cents? The Clinton Foundation has provided 2 decades of scandals and illegal acts that would have put ordinary Americans in prison that learning of another seems almost routine. In other words, if Bill or Hillary are involved, there's bound to be some connection to something that's unethical if not illegal. Perhaps they, too, are so used to operating in this manner without legal consequences that they really have gotten to the point where they actually don't see anything wrong with what they are doing anymore. The United States and its institutions have been victims of their deceit. It's difficult to respect a department called justice when none is administered to some of the most consistent lawbreakers in recent memory. And the most damaging acts yet done by this couple are to follow. Will they at some point face justice here before it is administered in the hereafter? That's impossible to say, although perhaps the people of America just administered a bit of justice when they rejected Hillary's presidential bid. Nevertheless, we must continue to point out their alleged crimes in the hope that somehow they will be called to account for what they have done to this country. And so we'll do that once again. Her scandals go all the way back to Little Rock, Arkansas, and even further than that. The Clintons' cozy relationship with the Chinese started with a Chinese fry cook at the Fu Lin Chinese restaurant. He would be the one that would go on to help them receive hundreds of thousands of illegal donations from China. And we all remember the Clintons selling national secrets to the Chinese in the 1990s. Continuing, according to presidential historian and New York Times best-selling author Doug Webb, Hillary's scathing defeat was unsurprising and a direct result of the scandals, lies and cover-ups that have followed her and her husband for decades. The idea that the Clinton scandals would somehow be dismissed by history upon the election of Hillary as president was always a fool's wish, Webb writes in his compelling new book, Game of Thorns, the inside story of Hillary Clinton's failed campaign and Donald Trump's winning strategy. So perhaps the wheels of justice are just turning extremely slowly in the Clintons' case. Neither are in any political position anymore from which they can trade favors for cash. And paying hush money for all the stunts they've pulled over the decades might be enough to stretch even the budget of George Soros. Going back to Doug Webb's book, Webb also writes that while Hillary accused President Donald Trump of being cozy with Putin, she had an interesting relationship with the Russians herself. Clinton encouraged American tech companies to help fund Skolkovo, the Russian version of Silicon Valley, Webb explains. In return, Skolkovo raised millions for the Clinton Foundation. Image result for Hillary and Putin. Webb also covers scandals that we've long been familiar with. In his new book, presidential historian Doug Webb details the scale of corruption, including how the Clintons sold sleepovers in the Lincoln bedroom at the White House, for up to $400,000. Does momentum apply to judicial actions? In other words, if a real, unshackled federal investigation were to begin into all the alleged crimes of the Clintons, would the thing take on a life of its own, ending only when both were convicted of crimes almost too numerous to count? It would be interesting to find out.